More Sense podcast. I got a podcast that's gonna come out tomorrow. Still working on it. I had some technical difficulties, and that slowed me up big time. So I'm gonna drop that tomorrow. But for the meanwhile, I just want to be consistent because it's a little pride thing. And so I was having a conversation with a friend earlier tonight, and we were talking about whether or not it's likely that big industry corporations would have motive and incentive to collude with each other, and would they even have the capability of doing it. So I mean, she wasn't down that they would have the capability. Like, if you run these big companies, you have access to so many resources because your company has so many resources. But then, would you have motive to? And she was saying, I think these companies are all acting out of self-interest, right? I gotta look at the camera because I'm looking at the screen, and then I start looking at the camera again. But she's saying all these companies, are all the CEOs, all the executives are acting out of self-interest, and because of that, it's unlikely that they're colluding. Maybe some of them are, but it's just in small ways for them looking out for their self-interest. I'm saying that if you're even on the most extreme sense, you're all as executives only looking for self-interest. If you have a mutual group of people that you know you can do business with, and you can converse with and do things with, and help each other with, and kind of work for each other, help each other's group mutually benefit from things. If you both have this group, then that that nothing is gonna stop you from, say, how would I say it? You know that nothing can come in between you other than having issues with another executive in the industry. But as long as you guys are getting along, you know that anything you want can be done. Because if you can't do it, they could do it. And if there's collaboration and there's mutual benefit, then the leverage of the benefit you offer and vice versa will allow you all to keep looking out for each other. And so what I'm saying is, over time, that benefit that you guys are benefiting from each other with, that's going to turn into more than just an occasional collaboration. That's going to turn into a relationship, because now you're consistently doing business with each other. You get what I'm saying? So because you're consistently doing business with each other, you're you're doing business with each other, but now you have a real purpose to be in bed with each other permanently. So now your plans become long term together. So then, because your plans become long term together, now you could have bigger goals, because the goals you had before were based on you as an independent, not as you with the unit collaborating with someone in a different industry. So my thing is, I was saying to her that I believe a lot of these powerful elites in with major power positions in different industries are all colluding with a similar, or maybe just one agenda. What that agenda is, I'll save for another time, but I'll let y'all guess what that agenda is. And should be interesting to hear what y'all think I'm talking about. But, you know, it's just funny to me, because it's like, I feel like, how could that not be true when you see the way the world is structured? More companies are getting acquired through mergers and acquisitions, through these banking deals. More companies are owned by the same thing. Verizon owns Huffington Post. Amazon owns Washington Post. That's a digital company and a communications company, and they own digital media companies. What's necessary for that? Like, why is that necessary? It's not, is the answer, but they benefit from it at the same time. You know, Verizon has a free promotion outlet. Amazon has a free promotion outlet. They get to kind of preach politics that benefit their business indirectly. So they could talk about politics that would help them get supporters, that would essentially help support politicians who would promote their businesses to be more successful. You know, they could benefit in all kinds of ways. Look, it's a fucked up world out here, B. And I just think it's kind of crazy to think everyone is just acting out of self interest because it may start that way, but it doesn't end that way. When everyone acts out of self interest, as soon as you start reaching the top and you see people who aren't competition but can benefit you, you start collaborating. And once you start collaborating, you become partners over time if the relationship is healthy. And once you become partners, your agendas start to merge. And the more that happens, the more the agendas consolidate. And right now, it's like you look at companies, companies are literally consolidated. Companies literally own other companies that were whole separate other companies. So multiple agendas have been merged over several hundred years, or a few hundred years, couple hundred years, and or several decades, not even a few hundred years, just several decades. And we live in a world now where it's like the people who have control of society, from media to the food industry to military to literally every way, like how we think, how we eat, how we live, the engineering companies. Like, did you know Kellogg cereal is made by the same Kellogg company that creates war products and like steel and stuff for the military? Did you know that was the same Kellogg? And it's like I forgot, it's Kellogg something something. It's a like one of those kind of three last name partner type of things. But that same Kellogg is the same Kellogg you see on your cereal box. So when you buy this cereal, you're also funding war internationally. Did y'all know that? That's the level of consolidation we're living in. So when you buy a product that's completely unrelated, you're funding agenda that's completely unrelated. You buy cereal and you're funding a company that's helping getting people killed in a country you ain't never been to. But you're just buying a cereal. You dig what I'm saying? So don't you think there's a motive for them to sell you the cereal they're selling you? If you knew what kind of cereal Kellogg was selling you and you knew what other business they were in, wouldn't you see a connection if you started to think like, oh, they're selling cereal. They're marketing that cereal to children. They want children to do this. They're in the business of this also. There's some food for thought.